Hey y'all, I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I achieved my ombre look. I didn't get to get the design portion of the video into this video, so I'm going to make a separate one for just the design portion. But I will be showing the results at the end before even making that video. But as you can see, I'm going in, I'm pushing back her cuticles. I already did spray my client's hands with alcohol just to remove any dirt that was left behind before starting this prepping process. Okay, so now I'm going in with my fine grit sanding band. I'm using this to remove the shine off her nails. You want to do this carefully. You don't want to overfile the nails as this cause your client's nails to burn, but you want to make sure that you're getting all the spots. You're making sure you're moving all the oil from her nails. If not, you can cause lifting. Alrighty, so I already went ahead and dusted off the nail. I'm going in and sizing my tips with her nails. I'm using my cutee.icles glue. It has been the best glue for me for my nail tips. Since I started doing nails, it has never done me wrong. So get you some cutee.icles glue. It's on Amazon. Yeah, so I'm just doing this to all of her nails real quick, and I will be right back. Alrighty, so we already went ahead, we just cut her preferred length. Now we're gonna go and we're gonna compare both of the hands, make sure that they are both the same length. You don't wanna have one hand shorter than the other. I know sometimes we file more maybe on one hand than the other, so at the end, you wanna make sure that after you're finished filing that the fingers are still the same length. because you can accidentally file one nail shorter than the other. Look at me, I cannot talk. Okay, so now I'm going back in with that fine grit sanding band that I used on her natural nail, and I'm just using this to blend her tips with her natural nail, so that is an easy application process. I like to go in and wipe my client's natural nails with alcohol. This is just to remove any dirt or dust that has been left behind from filing or etc. I do this on top of using dehydrator. The dehydrator is really to just make sure that I got all of the oils off the nail, all the dirt, anything that was left behind. So I like to do this two-step process before I go in with my primer so I can prevent lifting. Okay, so now I'm going in with my application process. I like to do my ombre application a little bit differently. So I don't prime the nails before I put the white down just because it saves me a little bit more time. So I just go in with my white on my tips or whatever preferred color that you're using. I go in with that first, blend it up and push it down, swiping it down. You don't want to make this layer too thick as you're going to cap the nail with clear in the end to preserve the ombre. Now you want to make sure that if you're doing it this way that you're not hitting the natural nail with any acrylic, because we didn't prime the nails yet and that can cause lifting, not prevent it, that can cause it. Alrighty, now I'm going to go ahead and dehydrate the nail with my Mia Secret dehydrator, and I'm going to be priming her nails with my Young Nails Protein Bond. I do go over the nails 2 times with the protein bond just to make sure that it is in there and secure, and we don't want any lifting. Alrighty, so now I'm going in with the ombre part of this, and I'm going to be using a pink from Valentino Beauty Pure. It's the prettiest pink. I prefer to use their cover powders because I personally like them, but you can use whatever base nude color cover powder that you want. It's completely up to you. This is just what I personally like to use. But yeah, so I placed that first bead, as you can see, right where that white ended, and I'm blending it down carefully. I really cannot talk today, guys, but I am blending that down carefully, feathering it down, making sure that, you know, you're not getting the color all the way to the free edge. That's not what this process is for. You're just blending it to like half the nail if you can. If not, then you're gonna go in with another bead, so it's okay. That was just to start the ombre process. This next bead we're gonna put right above where that first bead we put down, and it's going to be a little bit bigger because I am going to try to push this to the cuticle. It's going to be my cuticle / apex bead, and I'm going to be swiping it down, making sure I'm filling in any of the holes. You don't want to have any holes, as it's going to cause lifting. You don't want any water, anything to get up in there. No, ma'am. But yes, you see, so we definitely were successful with getting that bead to be our cuticle and apex bead, blended it down, making sure that ombre is flawless. Yes. I am going to go back in with a smaller bead at the cuticle because I looked from the side and it was not blending like how I wanted it to. So I did go back in with a small bead at the cuticle, pushing it into the cuticle, blending it down, making sure you're not flooding the cuticle. Make sure your client's nail is facing down so you can prevent this from happening. So now I'm going to be going in and capping the nail with my clear. I like to go in from the halfway mark where the ombre meets and blend that down, making sure that you're covering that ombre part. You're going to preserve it, because if not, you're going to file it off and you'll be so mad. especially after spending all that time doing the ombre. You want to make sure that it is secure and you're not filing it off. So I know some people go over the whole entire nail with clear, but I just find it's easier and simpler, faster for me to go in halfway through the nail, as I'm using a base nude cover, so you can build an apex with those cover powders. Colors are kind of a little too pigmented depending on the brand, so it may be harder to build an apex with the color, so that I can see why people go over the clear with the whole nail in that process. But in this case, I like to just go in where the ombre meets. And I just put another bead right there, blending it up because the nail was not blended out like I wanted it to be. All right, so we're going in again, placing that bead right where that white ended, blending it down, patting it, making sure you're not getting the acrylic over on the sides. You want to make sure that acrylic is on the nail, not just push it back on the nail if it gets over to the sides. Make sure that you're properly cleaning your brush through this process, as you can get acrylic stuck in there. And like I said before, brushes are not cheap. I went through so many brushes failing to do this. But yeah, just make sure you're cleaning your brush properly through this process, after, before, whatever you need to do. Just make sure that your brush is staying clean. But yes, as you can see, I put that second bead right there at the cuticle. I didn't push it up towards the cuticle enough like I did to the pinky finger, just because I didn't want it to be too much of a globby nail. The pinky is a little bit easier to do that with since it's smaller, and I am using a smaller brush. So, and if you wanted to know, I am using a size, I believe it's 9 or 10, I can't remember. I believe it's a size 9. It was a weird number. That's how I remember. I think it was a 9. But yes, so I did get a little bit of acrylic on her skin, so I'm just taking the tip of my brush and wiping the acrylic off with the monomer. And I'm gonna go back in with the clear, cap the nail, blending it and patting it down, preserving that ombre because we don't want to file it off. I've done that so many times, and when I first started, I would not cap my nail and I would go in with the file at the end and I would file off the whole entire ombre, and I would be so mad. So I'm just trying to save that from happening to you. But yeah. Okay, so right here you're gonna get a good side view. I love side views because I just love to see like the structure being built from different angles. It's just so satisfying. But I took that first bead, placed it right where that white ended, blending it down, feathering it down. I'm gonna place that second bead right where that first nude ended and patting it, blending it, making sure I'm filling in the holes and feathering it down. Now this bead was getting a little too dry, a little too quick, which is fine. If that happens, just put a little bit more pressure on your brush, patting it down. But don't put too much pressure as it cause like ridges and stuff. So yeah, you don't want to have that. It's cause more time on your end with the filing process. Now I'm making sure that that is flushed in the cuticles. And I'm gonna go in with another small bead right where the cuticle is, and I'm gonna push it up, making sure I'm flushing the cuticles in this process and blending it down, patting it, blending it, just blending it, making that ombre flawless as possible. And I'm going to go in with another small bead right where the ombre meets, just because it wasn't blending enough for me. And I'm just blending it down, blending it down. Okay, so now I'm going in with my filing process. I'm using my 80/80 grit hand file. I am pushing my client's skin back carefully, filing the underneath of the nail and bringing the file up to the side walls, keeping my file straight as this is a taper square nail. And you want to make sure you're not filing one side too much. You can overfile and make the nail lopsided, and you can also cause friction to your client and that'll burn. You don't want to cause any discomfort to them. I'm filing the free edge down. I'm also going to be turning my client's nails around towards the end just to make sure that the nails are straight from her point of view. Okay, so now I'm going to be going in and flushing my client's cuticles. I am doing this very carefully so I don't cut her skin. I'm holding her skin back as I'm doing this, just making sure that I'm separating the acrylic from her cuticle. You don't want to have any acrylic stuck on her skin as this can cause lifting. And you do want to make sure that your drill is turned down to a very low speed. I like to do this at a 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. Alrighty, so now I'm going to be going in and cleaning the underneath of her nail with the same bit that I was using to flush her cuticles. I did turn my drill up a little bit more just so that the drill doesn't turn over, because if it is at a low speed, it will turn over. And yeah, so I'm just cleaning the underneath of her nails, making sure that the acrylic is not in there, and I'm dusting off her nails, doing the same thing to her other hand. Okay, so now I'm going back in with my fine grit sanding band, and I am just using this to make sure that there's no ridges or bumps in her nail that I may have left on there. And I'm just going to do that to all 10 of her fingers, making sure that they are all smoothed out. Alrighty, so I turn my client's nails around just to make sure from her point of view that the nails are straight, making sure that I'm filing the free edge and comparing the nails, making sure they're all equal in length. Alrighty, so I did end up buffing her nails after this video. I will get a separate video of the design portion, as I am going to be showing 3D flowers and how I do my rhinestone placement. But if you like this video and if it was helpful, give it a thumbs up. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.